All right, we're going to go back. Oh, we're missing Ms. Cook. Okay, we're going to go back on the record here. I did think of a couple questions that I had for Ms. Niekamp over the break. And I will remind you, Ms. Niekamp, that you are still under oath. Did you ever receive any child support for your older daughter that was not Mr. Niekamp's biological daughter?
Yes, I did.
And how much child support were you receiving for her?
I think it was about 215 every other week, if I remember correctly. That was a while ago. I believe that's about what it was.
And was that steady coming in, or was it sporadic?
That was steady through front of the court.
After the separation in 2011, did you receive any financial help from your family or friends?
When Todd lost his job, my dad helped us out. I don't recall if we were required to pay him back. I don't remember, but I know when Todd lost his job, my dad stepped in and gave us $3,000 to $5,000, I believe.
All right. Any other money from family or friends after that?
Not that I recall, sir, no.
The amount of money that you were receiving from Mr. Niekamp, was that amount that he was paying chosen because of the child support calculation when the divorce was filed?
I believe it was. I believe it was based upon that. We also discussed the fact that because we didn't want, the children moving from their school district, that I would be taking them to their separate schools and picking them up. So it was also because I couldn't, work 4 hours a day at that point.
How far were you living from their school district?
It was just South Holland, but they went to Zeeland and they were at two different schools and they started at different times. One of them, I would have to leave the house about 6:15 and take her to the high school. And then I would return home 20 to 7 and finish getting Erica ready and then leave for her school about 7:35 or so. And then the same thing in the afternoons, different schools, different pickup times.
All right, and this $700 to $800 that you would receive from Mr. Niekamp, I know that you don't have a payment record of it, but let's go on a yearly basis. Did he make payments at least 50% of the time?
Yes, I would say 50% of the, I would say yes, more than 50% probably.
About 75% of the time?
Probably yes.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe he missed a month or two here and there.
Of the child support? Yeah,
Yes.
Probably yes.
Now, once Erica went to live with him, the testimony was that Mr. Niekamp continued to pay for a while. Do you have any recollection of when payments stopped once Erica's living with him?
It was before she was 18. I do not know exactly when.
Well, you've been with this Chris since roughly 2017. Do you recall Mr. Niekamp paying you any amount of money since you've been living with Chris?
I do not recall that. No, I don't believe he did.
All right, those are the questions that I had. Any follow-up on that, Ms. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I just want to make sure I understand. You've testified that you had to take two kids to two different schools at two different times when you were separated from Mr. Niekamp, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so just so I understand, I think you said your oldest moved out in 2013 and she was 17 at the time, correct?
she moved out when she was 17.
And was she driving at the age of 16?
Yes, she was.
Okay, so you really were only transporting two kids around until about what, 2012?
No, ma'am, she did not have her car. She did not have a car.
Okay, so 2013 then was the last time you had to worry about transporting two children to two different schools and that sort of thing, right?
I would have to think on the dates. I took her to high school until she left. Yes.
Well,
which-
you said she left in 2013 when she was 17.
When she was 17. I don't know if that's 2013 or not.
Okay, so I just want to be clear, for the last 7 years, you haven't had this burden of driving two kids to two different schools, right? Let's just be clear about that. Right?
Right. I wouldn't be taking them to school when they're not in school. Yeah,
Right. And when they're not living with you.
correct.
Okay, so Mr. Niekamp had some of the same responsibility when Erica came to live with him, right? He had to get her to school.
He had to take one. Yes, he had to get her on the bus. Yes.
Okay,
He was in Zealand. So it's at the same school district.
could you have moved to Zealand?
There was no, believe me, I looked very hard for Zealand housing.
So you're just saying that wasn't a possibility?
I'm saying I looked repeatedly. So I guess yes.
Okay, so this business of your dad giving you guys some money when Todd lost his job, I thought you said Todd lost his job in like 2009.
I didn't say when. I don't know when he lost his job.
Okay, so your dad helped out before you guys separated, right?
Yes, when he lost his job. Yes.
I just want to make sure this wasn't after the separation that your dad's helping you guys out and contributing it all, right?
No, ma'am.
You got to answer.
And then this 215 every other week that you received for your oldest daughter, did you work the entire time prior to you folks separating?
I'm sorry. Did I work the entire? I think we went over my work history. Are you talking about when Todd Niekamp and I separated?
No, before, and I'm sorry I didn't state that right. Before you and Todd separated, did you work that entire time from 2001 to 2010?
No, I believe my lawyer covered that Todd and I had agreed that I was going to be raising the children at home and I was at school with them, 3-4 days a week.
Okay. So it was Todd's money as well as the child support you received that supported the children in the home?
That supported our family, yes.
Okay. And then after you separated, you didn't take any of the child support that you were getting from your oldest daughter. You weren't sending any of that to Todd, right?
No, I was not.
And then when Erica was living with Todd, you weren't sending any child support to Todd for Erica, right?
No, I offered it, but he said no.
You offered it?
I offered help to Todd, yes.
Okay. But you didn't turn down the money he kept paying you after Erica moved in with him, right?
No, I certainly did not, no.
Right. Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Anything from you, Mr. Greer?
If I may, Your Honor, real briefly, how long did Todd continue to pay? I'm sorry, how long did Todd continue to pay you after Erica moved away from you?
I think Ms. Cook asked me that, and I don't remember. It was before she was 18 that he stopped, but I don't.
So she moved in when she was 15 or 16?
Yes.
I didn't hear any of that question.
She moved in before she was 15 or 16 with Todd, correct?
Yeah, she was 15 or 16 when she started staying there, yes.
And he continued to pay you some money
Yes.
prior to, and then in 17 it quit. When you moved in with Chris.
Yes, well, yes.
All right. Thank you. I don't have any other.
Okay, Ms. Cook, you can call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. We call Erica Nijkamp.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to Erica Nijkamp being called in a witness list. I don't see her name on it.
Well, I can wait and call her in rebuttal. That's fine. She's going to rebut the testimony of the defendant.
Okay, call your next witness then.
Thank you, Your Honor. We call Todd Nijkamp.
All right, Mr. Nijkamp, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear, oath, or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Nijkamp, I want to start with this. You and, Your Honor, if it's okay, I'd like to do proofs just real quickly.
Okay,
Okay. So Todd, I just need to ask you some questions that establish grounds for divorce, and we'll do that quick, and then we'll get right back on track, okay? All right, Mr. Nijkamp, were you married to Ms. Nijkamp on April 18th of 2001?
Yes.
And were you married by someone who is licensed to perform marriages?
Yes.
Did you have any children that were born of this marriage that are under the age of 18 at the time you filed for divorce?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask that better. It's okay. When you filed this action for divorce, did you and your wife have any minor children?
The current one? No.
Okay. And do you have any other children that are minors right now with Ms. Nijkamp?
No.
Have there been any children that have been born, either you fathered or Ms. Nijkamp gave birth to since the filing of this action for divorce?
No.
To your knowledge, is Ms. Nijkamp currently pregnant?
No.
Okay. Prior to filing this action for divorce, were you a resident of the state of Michigan at least 180 days?
Yes.
Were you a resident of the county of Neawaygo for at least, was Ms. Nijkamp a resident of the county of Neawaygo at least, 10 days before the filing of this action?
Yes.
Okay. Has there been a breakdown of this marital relationship?
Yes.
Do you think it's to the extent that the objects of this marriage have been destroyed?
Yes.
Think there remains any reasonable likelihood you can preserve this marriage?
No.
Would you like the court to grant you divorce once we get this all done?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so Mr. Nijkamp, I want to go back and talk to you. There was
Hang on.
testimony.
hang on, Ms. Cook, hang on just 1 second.
I'm sorry, sir.
And it goes back to some other testimony. Mr. Nijkamp, you said that you were a resident of the state of Michigan for 180 days before you filed this case. Is that correct?
I think I screwed that up, Judge.
I think, yeah.
Because my notes had you in Idaho.
Yeah, you're right. I think that I should have asked if Ms. Nijkamp was a resident of the state of Michigan. That was me.
Stipulate to that, Your Honor.
Okay,
if you heard me.
all right. So, Mr. Nykamp, to the best of your knowledge, was Ms. Nykamp a resident of the state of Michigan for 180 days and for the county of Neawaygo for 10 days before you filed for this divorce?
yes,
Okay, all right, you can go ahead, Ms. Cook.
Yeah, sorry about that, Judge. So let's go back to, there was testimony by Ms. Nykamp that she did not drink from the time of marriage until the time of separation. Would you agree with that?
I would not.
Okay. What can you tell me about her pattern of drinking after you got married and then up until the time of separation?
She quit drinking for quite a few years. The first few, I don't know the exact dates of when she started drinking, but she had quit for quite a few years.
Okay. So I need you to help me out a little bit because it's easy. We're in a conversation, but so let's talk about in 2001, when you got married, was she sober?
Yes,
And when you say that she quit drinking for a number of years, you're talking about from the time that you're married, and then at some point in time, does that change during the marriage?
yes.
Okay. And at what point in time do you think, maybe halfway through this time period you're living together, 2 years in, does this change?
I'd say 7 years in. 7 to 8 years in.
So roughly around 2007, 2008, 2009, somewhere in there.
Yep.
Okay. And tell me what happens during that time and until you separate.
I would find bottles all over the house. Well, I'd find bottles in our room,
Bottles of what?
empty alcohol,
Like what kind?
vodka.
Was that mostly her drink of choice?
Yes,
Okay. And how frequently would you find these? I mean, would this be something that would happen once a year, or was this more often?
more often. I don't know how often.
And did you notice anything else about her behavior or anything else about the drinking?
No, not really.
Well, how did you know she was drinking? How did you know it wasn't just an empty bottle here or there?
I could tell by her actions.
Okay. Did she smell of alcohol?
No,
Would you call or would you talk to her about her drinking?
yes,
Okay. Would she admit to the fact that she was drinking?
sometimes yes.
And just give me an idea, like, was this something that was weekly? Was this, I mean, infrequent? Was it becoming more and more of a problem? I need you to give us some information.
Once she started drinking it progressively, I mean, it started as once in a while, but it would progressively get worse and to quite often.
Okay, so give me an idea what that means, quite often.
Well, Your Honor, if I may, I need to know what time frame we're talking about.
Okay, he said about 7 years in.
7 or 8 years in. I mean, it was she started drinking the last couple of years we were together. Let's just say that.
Okay. So when you say it increased, what did you notice?
I noticed more and more bottles.
Did her behavior change?
When she wasn't drinking or when she was drinking?
When she was drinking, would her behavior change?
Yes, she was not very nice.
Okay, what does that mean? Can you give me any examples?
Just more, she would get angry.
Did you ever have to have family intervene?
With her drinking?
Yes.
I don't know how to. We took her Suburban away from her at one point.
Who's we?
Her father and I,
And what was the reason why you took her Suburban away?
so that she couldn't drink and drive.
And how did you know she had been drinking and driving?
I just assumed she was.
Okay. In your opinion, what was the reason for the breakdown of the marriage?
To me, it was the drinking.
Okay. There's been allegations, it kind of talked around, I guess, that you were involved in affairs during the course of the marriage when you were living together before you separated. So I guess I'm going to ask this. Was there a time period that you filed for divorce prior to this current filing?
Yes, I filed in September of, I think it was September of 2010.
Did you two separate at that point?
No,
Okay. And after you filed, did you have any kind of relationship after you filed that first time?
yes,
Okay. Did you have any relationship prior, any emotional, sexual, romantic relationship prior to that filing?
no.
How long did that filing remain in place, that first filing for divorce?
I don't remember exactly when she got served. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, I guess a better question is, how long was it pending? Was it like a month? Was it 3 months, 6 months?
I would say 6 months.
Okay. And were you involved in that relationship while that divorce was pending?
Yes,
Do you believe that that relationship was the reason for the breakdown of the marriage?
no,
Had you talked to Ms. Nykamp about her drinking problem prior to filing for divorce?
yes.
Was she willing to stop?
She tried to stop
Okay. Was she able to stop?
for periods, yes.
What kind of problems was it creating in your relationship that she was drinking?
Financial.
Okay. Can you explain that to me?
I did lose my job, and I don't remember what the date or the year was, but it was January, and I was unemployed for a month. And then I was not making what I was making at that time. So she went back to work for a bit.
Okay.
Which I believe was Macatawa.
Okay. But the question was, how was her drinking, impacting the marriage? You said it was financial, so I'm trying to understand that.
I don't know exact dates, but she was going out quite a bit on the weekends with friends.
Okay. And did that make you responsible for the kids then when she was out?
Yes,
And when she came home, had she been drinking?
I was usually in bed.
Okay. So when she was drinking in the home prior to separation, you'd find all these bottles. When you were around her, would she appear drunk?
No, not a lot. No,
Okay. So how did the drinking impact the marriage then? What was it about it that you said you couldn't do it anymore?
I was just sick of the drinking all the time.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it.
After the separation, where did you live?
I had an apartment in Holland, Michigan.
Okay. And how long did you live in that apartment?
Three years, maybe.
And did you live alone?
Yes.
Did anyone contribute to your expenses?
No.
And during that 3 years, is that the time period in which Ms. Nykamp was living with Brian and then Shannon?
I believe so, yes.
And were you around those individuals at all? There was some testimony you'd go over maybe to their house and have a beer or
Yes.
something like that?
Yep.
Okay. And you didn't have any problem with those fellows, is that true?
Correct.
There was testimony, however, that these people were just her friends did you have reason to believe that they were more than her friends?
Yes.
Okay, and why would that be?
Just my assumption.
Okay, well, I don't want you to assume. Was there anything about their behavior that would indicate to you that they were, you know, more than, I mean, would they hold hands? Would they kiss?
Well, I
Would
think
they
she,
touch
Your
you?
Honor, I'm gonna object to that. I think she testified that they were more than friends eventually.
Right, the testimony that I have written down was that they both started out as friends, but they both worked into a romantic relationship with Shannon. She testified that she knew that he wanted to get with her, and that they eventually gave that a try, but it didn't really work out. So she did end up having a relationship with both of them. I think they both supposedly started out with friends. That's
Okay,
my recollection of the testimony.
I'll move on. I couldn't have said it better, so thanks. And then I guess I want to talk to you about after you separated in May of 2011. Did you start paying over money to Ms. Nykamp?
Yes.
Okay, and how much did you pay over to her monthly?
$800.
And what was that based on?
Recommendation from friend of the court.
Okay, you didn't have an order at that time that you had to pay that, right?
Nope.
Okay, and how long did you pay that? When did you stop?
Erica was 17, so almost 3 years ago, maybe.
Erica came to live with you when she was 16?
15 or 16.
So you continued to pay that amount over after Erica came to live with you?
Yes.
Why?
In my opinion, keep the peace.
Okay, what did you think would happen if you didn't do that?
She would file for divorce and try to get custody.
Okay, so talk to me about the time period when you were paying the $800 a month and Emily was living with, excuse me, Erica was living with her mom. How often were you seeing Erica?
I'd stop there during the week and then I would have her every other weekend.
Okay, and were there times in which you might not have paid that $800 a month consistently, or did you miss any times?
Not very many, if at all.
How was that paid?
I think at the beginning, I would give her cash or write her a check.
And then did that change at some point in time in how you did it?
Yeah, when she got Huntington Bank like I have, I would just, every other Thursday, I would just go transfer $400. Every other Thursday, sorry.
Were there any times in which she would contact you asking where her money was?
No, because I always paid it on time.
Okay. And why did you stop paying it?
To be honest, everybody told me I was stupid to keep paying.
Okay. So your answer is you finally listened to other people?
Yes.
Okay. Did you then pay her after she had moved in with Chris? Was she still getting this money?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But you know you paid it until Erica was 17.
Yep.
Okay. I want to go back to kind of Ms. Nykamp's work history. Or maybe I'll talk about it this way. You and Ms. Nykamp did continue to talk from time to time. Is that fair to say?
A lot. Yep.
Okay. So did she tell you why she lost her job at McIntyre Bank?
I did not. No, I don't know.
Okay. She seemed to make it sound like she had a lot of influence on you moving or what you did with your job. Would you agree with that?
She gave me her opinion.
Okay. And did that really have much to do with what you ended up doing with your employment?
No.
Okay. Did she have anything to do with how you invested money or spent your money that you, other than what you gave her on a monthly basis? Did she have anything to do with how you spent that money?
No,
Did you have any say in how she spent the money that she was earning or that you gave to her?
no.
I'm gonna talk to you about the taxes. Can you tell me, have you folks been filing jointly since the time of separation?
Yes.
And what was the reason for that?
Because she always did it when we were together, and it was just easier for, just easier.
How many times did you get money from that return?
Let's see, how long has it been? I probably got a tax return, half of the taxes, maybe half the time.
Okay, so if you guys had been filing jointly for the last 9 years prior to this year, you're indicating that you received maybe 4 years, 5 years out of that? You received half of it?
Yep.
Okay, would you request from her that she would pay over the return?
No.
Okay, so you knew she was keeping it.
Yeah,
She did give you the stimulus back in, I think, April of 2020,
yep,
and you agree she has not given you the one in 2021.
correct.
Okay.
Which I don't care, it's, yeah, whatever.
Well, would you want that to be an offset at all? I mean, you're entitled to that, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, where do you currently live?
Boise, Idaho.
And do you live with anyone?
No,
Do you own a home?
no,
And is anyone providing for your support outside yourself?
no,
I think there's some indication you are returning back to the state of Michigan at some point.
yes.
And when is that?
Probably the next couple months.
Okay, and when you come back, is there anyone that will be living with you?
Erica, when she's not in school.
Okay, and that is your daughter,
Yes.
both of your daughters. Was there a period in time in which, to your knowledge, the oldest daughter of Ms. Niekamp moved out of Ms. Niecamp's home?
Yes.
Okay. Did Ms. Niekamp tell you why she moved out?
I believe it was because of her boyfriend. We caught her sneaking over to her boyfriend's house and vice versa.
When you say we caught her, was that during the time period that the two of you were living in the apartment?
I do not recall.
Okay, so when you say we caught her, what do you mean we? Who is we?
I caught her because I went to the boyfriend's house and found her car.
Okay, and why were you involved in that? Was this after you had separated?
Oh yeah, long time after.
Okay, so why were you involved in finding her?
I've known Emily since she was 2 years old.
I want to talk about when Erica came to live with you. Was it a situation in which Ms. Niekamp called you and said, hey, can you take Erica? Or was it a situation in which Erica just came to your house and wouldn't leave?
Both.
Okay, so can you explain that?
I know her by Wendy. Wendy would call me and we'd discuss Erica misbehaving, and I would talk to Erica, and it finally got so bad that Wendy had said, hey, can she come live with you for a while? And she did. And then it came to a point where Erica wouldn't leave, didn't want to leave.
And would she go see her mom?
No.
Okay. I want to ask you about this loan. So first of all, we have attached to our trial brief, and this is just going to be one exhibit. some statements from your 401k plan. Have you had an opportunity to look at those statements from your 401k plan?
Yes.
Okay, so in that exhibit, there is a balance from a rollover back in December of 2015 or early January of 2016. You recall that statement?
Correct.
Okay. So can you tell us what happened? Why was there some kind of transition or something with your retirement?
Harside switched companies. That's all.
So they switched the company that had the plan?
Correct.
Okay. And then we also have a statement that looks to be around between June and September of 2016 that shows some money came out of the account in the amount of $5,500.
Yes.
Do you recall that statement?
Yes.
Okay. And then we have a statement, again, this is all part of Exhibit 1, that has an account balance, and that account balance is on June 30th of 2020, and that's around the time that you filed for divorce, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last page of that exhibit is the account balance as of, well, pretty close in time, December 31 of 2020, and that's part of this exhibit too, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, we move for admission of plaintiff's Exhibit 1. These are attached to the trial brief. I understand the court has indicated to me the untimeliness of the trial brief. These statements were all sent to Mr. Greer probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. Some of them were
Honor,
sent
I have no
before that.
objection. I have no objection to that admission.
Cool. That helps.
All right, plaintiff's exhibit number 1 would be admitted.
Okay. So, Mr. Nijkamp, I want to ask you some questions about this. You do not know the balance of your 401k plan at the time that you separated from Ms. Nijkamp. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. And are the earliest records you have from this rollover that happened in 2015?
Yes.
Okay. When did you start working for Harside Food Solutions?
Hold on here. 2008.
Okay. So prior to the marriage?
No.
No, during the marriage. During the marriage. Right? Sorry.
I can't math today. Sorry.
That's okay. That was my bad. So in 2008, you began there. And do you know when you actually began contributing to a plan there?
No, I don't, because I was a temporary employee for the first 6 months.
Okay.
Right. Let me see that again.
Okay. So then if we take a look at where this plan on December 31 of 2015, it's at 0. And then it looks like we get rolled over into the new plan, and there's a balance on March 31 of 2016, and that's roughly $12,000. Does that sound correct to you?
Correct.
Okay. Then there is a loan or a withdrawal that occurs somewhere between June 30 of 2016 and September 30 of 2016. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was Erica living with you by that time?
For the purpose of I'm
Very
sorry.
close.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question, Ms. Cook?
Sure.
I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay. I just asked if he thought Erica was living with him between June 30 and September 30th of 2016, if you know.
Okay, thank you. That's fine.
Mr. Nijkamp, did you understand my question? You with me? Did you hear me?
You froze. I think
No,
we
you
both.
froze. It was all
Oh.
you. Okay, so my question is, do you recall if Erica was living with you between June 30 of 2016 and September 30 of 2016?
I think she was, yes.
Okay, so this $5,500, was that the only loan that you took on this plan?
Nope, I think Wendy had it right earlier, where that loan was for my car. And I believe there was a loan previous to that, which the rollover, yeah. I think then I gave her $1,000 or whatever it was.
Okay, I didn't hear the amount that you gave her. So you're saying there was a loan that you took out of this account before the rollover, and you said
Yes.
it was the amount of how much for Wendy?
It was, I want to say it was like $3,200.
Okay. And then this 5,500 that was taken in fall of 2016, you're saying that Ms. Nykamp was correct. That was for your car.
That was for my car. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
That's a long time ago.
Okay, that's okay. I just wanted to clarify today. Now, the other two statements reflect date of filing value and then the value as of date of current date. Recognize that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, in your opinion, did Ms. Nykamp do anything after you separated to contribute to the value of this account?
No.
Did she contribute to any of your expenses? Housing, anything like that since separation?
No.
Did she pay any child support over at the time in which Erica came to live with you or provide any support to her?
No.
She claims she offered to pay you support. Did that happen?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And you indicated no, for what reason?
I could afford it. She couldn't afford to pay it.
Okay. And do you think she could afford to contribute to the marital estate, so to speak, since you guys separated?
No.
Okay. So let's get down to kind of brass tacks here. You separate in 2011. She is in other relationships, right?
Yes.
You end up in some other relationships at some point. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Why didn't you file?
So the original file in 2010, then there was another file at some point that didn't go through either. That was our brilliant idea of doing it ourselves, and we screwed it up.
Okay, so there was a filing in 2010. You're saying there was another filing. Did you do
Yes.
it? Did Ms. Nykamp do it?
I did it. I initiated it, but we were going to do it together, and yeah, we didn't. We screwed it up.
So it never made it to the courthouse steps?
It made it to the steps, but stuff. We're not good lawyers.
No, that's okay. Some would say the same about me. But what I'm trying to understand is, was there an actual second filing? In other words, did it go to the courthouse and get filed, or was it just something you two were talking about?
No, it got filed, assigned a number, all that good stuff.
Do you know what year that happened?
I do not. Maybe she does.
Okay, but that was after 2010?
Oh yeah, it was probably. I don't know. 15
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. So talk to me about, why didn't you just finish this up in 2010?
More so to. I don't have a good reason. I mean, it would benefit her. I mean, it was great. She could keep the insurance, her health insurance, and I mean, no good reason.
Okay. And then once Erica came to live with you in 2016, why didn't you file then? Now you have custody.
Because when she came to live with me, she was still a minor. And I didn't want to file and go through a custody battle and for it to cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, not hundreds, but tens of thousands of dollars to.
Okay. When do you think that this marriage broke down? When, in your opinion, was it done?
A year before I filed the first time.
And what got you to that point? What made you believe that that was true?
Everything, both of our lives went to crap. I mean, financially.
Okay. And do you think that the drinking of Ms. Nykamp increased at that time, changed, same?
I don't know. Same.
Are you asking the court to take into consideration that you were the only one after you separated contributing to this 401k?
Yes.
Okay. And at this point in time, just, I'm going to ask a few questions. How old are you?
49.
And how's your health?
Good.
Now, again, you and Ms. Nykamp have maintained some kind of communication since you've separated. Is there anything in your opinion that kept Ms. Nykamp from working full time?
No.
Anything that kept her from accumulating her own retirement or investments?
No.
And the money that you were sending to her on a monthly basis, did you send this to her even at times in which she was living with people?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was she receiving the child support for her oldest daughter during the time period in which she was living with people and you were still giving her money?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So I think the court may be wanting to know, what is it that we're asking the court to do? Would you like the court to set a valuation date from the date that we have? In other words, from the rollover date, since that's the earliest one we have?
Yes.
Okay. And you're willing to divide that based on however the court distributes fault. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Did Ms. Nykamp ever tell you or at least communicate with you that if you didn't pay that money to her or support to her that she was going to proceed with custody or try to change things with Erica?
I would say no.
Okay. You indicated that was kind of a motivating factor to not file. What was it that made you think that she would do that she would try to get custody?
Because I know how much, because she was texting and calling when Erica was with me that she wanted to see Erica and wanted me to force her to see Erica, or Wendy, sorry, Eileen.
Okay.
That's still.
But I'm more asking about, so that made you think that she also would pursue something court-wise if you filed. Is that what you're saying?
Objection, that's speculation.
That's fair. I'll agree. I can withdraw that.
Same.
How much money do you think that you paid over the years to Ms. Nykamp since you have separated?
Hold on, I'm mathing.
Yeah, that's okay.
No. Okay, I'm trying to math.
All right.
$60,000 probably, with the $800 a month for 6 years.
And again, was that paid at times in which she was actually living with other people she was romantically involved with?
Yes.
And did you pay her that money when she actually resided in the apartment with you when she didn't have housing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions at this time. Thanks.
Mr. Greer, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor, if I may. Mr. Nykamp, can I call you Todd? Is that all right?
You may.
Thank you. Todd, you stated one of the reasons for the separation was the alcoholism, correct?
Yes.
And when you married Eileen, it was, you knew that she was alcoholic at that time, correct?
Correct.
And she was sober for a number of years
Correct.
at the beginning of the marriage.
Correct.
Could it have gone until about 2010 that she started drinking again?
No, I know it was before we separated. I don't know how far before we separated, but it was before.
Okay.
Because I was going, never mind. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was attending Al-Anon classes,
Mhm.
which she knew about,
Right,
and I would go to AA with her too. So
all right. So she was trying.
yeah,
All right,
she would. Yeah, she first 3/4 of the marriage, she was sober.
all right. So in 2011, you guys separated
Yes.
and the children went with her. I'm saying the children, I mean, both, and I hope you don't mind me saying that, but
They're
you
both mine.
were with that child for a long time, her child, so.
Yep.
And they went with her.
Yes.
Okay, and so obviously she must have been able to care for these children if you're leaving your child and a child that you've been with for a number of years with her, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so for at least 6 or 7 years before you got Erica, she was with Eileen, whatever. I always get it mixed up. But anyway, I should call her Wendy. But anyway,
It's what I do.
yes. Isn't it? It's true that she reached out to you because she was having trouble with Erica. That is true. You testified to that.
Yes.
Do you know what did Erica ever tell you what the problem was?
What her problem with what?
With Wendy was. I'm going to say Wendy, if you don't mind.
No.
With Wendy was. All right. Do you remember what Erica's problem with Wendy was?
She just said, she said mom was drinking a lot and would be mean to her.
Okay. Did you have any proof of that?
That's why I didn't say, no, I did not.
And you stopped over to the house sporadically, when not visiting,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And you never noticed anything like that?
No.
All right. And Wendy had indicated to you that she wasn't getting along because Erica wasn't listening to her. Is that correct?
Correct.
And at the time she was 15, 16 years old.
Yes.
All right. So did there ever come a time during the marriage that you had an affair with anyone? And I'm not talking about the separation or the first divorce during
No.
that. I'm talking about before that. Your testimony is that you'd never had an affair.
Correct.
Had you ever contacted anyone with emails and like reached out to other women, emails, like an emotional thing, but not physical?
No.
All right. So when you filed for divorce in 2010 and you two were still living together, that
Yes.
was the first affair.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And to the best of your knowledge, what Wendy testified to is accurate. She reached out to you for help for the daughter.
Yes.
And you guys were having quite a few conversations.
Yes.
And it's fair to say she reached out to you for the other daughter, right?
Not as much as when we were together, no.
Okay, but you caught her, when did you catch her with this boy?
Oh, I don't remember exactly when.
So you don't know whether you were together or apart?
Oh, no, Eileen, Wendy and I,
Yeah.
oh, we were apart.
No. When you caught Eileen, or what's the dog's name?
There's too many
Emily.
E's.
Too many E's. When you caught Emily, were you and Wendy together or separated?
Separated.
Okay. So she was reaching out to you for help. For both of them.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. And you voluntarily dismissed the divorce, right?
yes. The first one, yes.
Okay. And you could have filed a divorce at any time. In fact, you did. And that one got dismissed as well, right?
Correct.
And it's true that you filed joint tax returns
Yes.
and those benefited you.
Somewhat, yes.
And a number of those, you weren't real clear, but a number of those refunds were not, were divided between the two of you, correct?
I would say about half, yes.
All right. And when she says all but one, you don't agree with that?
No, I do not.
All right. You knew that she was living in these apartments with these gentlemen, correct?
Correct.
I'll call them gentlemen. I never met them. But anyway, and your kids were there as well, right?
Yes.
And you didn't have a problem with that?
No.
And you indicated you were 49 years old, right?
Correct.
And she's 55? Every bit of it, right?
Her age finally came out. Good.
Okay. That's right. That's right. So I gave something away. I'm sorry. A client confidence. But anyway, so she's older than you, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And her ability to make money is substantially less than yours. Would that be fair to say?
I can't say.
All right. How much are you making now, sir?
About $82,000 a year.
What is your tax return going to indicate this year? Do you know?
I have no idea.
All right. And you two have agreed to file jointly again, correct?
Yes.
For 2020.
Yes.
All right. How do you think she's going to be able to retire with no retirement? You think that's possible for her to do that?
I can't answer that.
All right. Because you can't answer it or you don't want to answer it?
It's not a,
I think I'm gonna object to speculation.
yeah,
I don't know how he's gonna answer because he doesn't know what the future holds. She lives with somebody. There's all kinds of dynamics.
All right. So I'll withdraw the question. You and her both had the option to file for divorce, correct?
correct.
And neither of you chose to do it until now, correct?
Correct. Well, that's not true. When, I don't even know how many years ago it was, when we did it ourselves. That was mutual at that time.
To file or to drop it? Or both?
Well, to file it, we filed it. We were gonna do it without lawyers. And then we screwed that whole thing up.
Okay, so you, I guess you can agree that you could have refiled, but you chose not to.
Correct.
All right. So when she testified that you and her talked often and that you would stop over occasionally and discuss matters, that was accurate, right?
Yes,
Up until recently.
yes.
All right.
Up until she moved to Fremont, which I'm not driving an hour to go see her.
Okay.
No
But phone calls and texts and stuff still come
Yes.
through. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. And you have spent holidays with her as well with,
Yep, with the kids, yep.
all right. Are you aware, Erica has a car. Are you aware who bought that car?
Yes,
Who bought the car?
Wendy and Chris.
And did Erica accept the car?
Yes,
So at that time, she was talking to her mother.
yes.
Right. I have nothing further.
Any redirect, Ms. Cook?
Just a couple of things. I guess my first question is, what is your level of education?
I have an associate's degree.
Okay, so some college.
Yep.
And when you began your appointment with Hearthside Foods, what kind of role did you take on at that time?
I was a production planner.
Okay.
What are we gonna do?
Do you have any idea how much Ms. Nykamp was making when she worked at Macatella Bank?
I don't recall.
Okay. And this retirement we're talking about, even if the judge gave it all to you, we're talking about less than $40,000, right?
Correct.
Okay, are you able to retire on that?
No.
Okay. And do you have anybody that you live with who's also helping provide for your care and support?
No.
Okay, are you planning on moving in with somebody soon to do that for you?
No.
So, do you have any plan on how you're going to retire ever?
Nope.
All right, I don't have any other questions. Thanks.
I do have a couple questions for you, Mr. Nykamp. When you started working at Hearthside, what was your beginning salary after the 6-month probationary period or whatever?
I think it was like $15 or $17 an hour.
And were you getting 40 hours a week or more?
Yes. I said yes.
40 hours or more?
40 hours. Sometimes more, I should, yep.
All right, and then when you filed for divorce in 2011, how much were you earning per hour or salary then?
Probably 45,000 a year.
Then fast forwarding to, let's say, 2016, how much were you earning a year then?
Under 50. I know that.
So no real increase from 2011 to 2016?
Nope, I went quite a few years without 1 cent.
How about 2017, 18, 19? Any real jumps there?
No, there's the 3%.
Now for 2020, there, I've heard the number 97,000. Did you make 97,000 in 2020?
That's what my W-2 showed, yes.
Is your W-2 wrong?
No, but I got a $12,000 moving bonus.
So that would put your salary then at 85,000?
I'm about 82,000 right now.
And did that increase in salary just come after moving to Idaho?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions.
Can I ask anything else, or would that be okay?
Go ahead.
This might be kind of hard to know, and if you don't know, that's okay. But do you have any idea, is there a percentage that you have been contributing to your 401k on a monthly basis, or is it a dollar amount?
I have no idea.
Okay. That's not necessarily unusual, so I just wondered if you knew if there was a set amount that was being paid in every week.
I know there's a set amount, but what it is, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. Well, let me ask you this. Has it gone up over the years, or has it always been the same amount that you've contributed?
No, I've adjusted it probably twice since I started.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else. I'm sorry. Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Greer?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right. Any other witnesses, Ms. Cook?
Just briefly, and well, I'll rest for right now. We would call subject to rebuttal.
All right. Plaintiff rests. Any witnesses that you want to call, Mr. Greer?
Your Honor, since my client has already testified, and since Mr. Nightcamp admitted that the car was purchased by my client and her friend, I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, good. All right. I guess the court will take this case under advisement and then issue an opinion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, Judge, I guess before we finish, I did have rebuttal, and I recognize I have to wait until Mr. Greer closes this case, but I did have some statements to come in from Erica Nightcamp.
You're calling a rebuttal witness to rebut your own, the witnesses that you call?
No, it would be to rebut the testimony of Mr. Greer's client, and I can rebut testimony that came in on direct or on, if I'm on cross-examination.
Okay, well, all right, let's go off the record real quick.
Okay.